Greetings petrolheads, my name is the Tom, you're on my gaming channel and it's time for another episode of Automation, a car company tycoon game. So today I'm gonna be doing some more reviews and depending on how long we take, I'm gonna do either 2 or 3 cars. The first 2 are submitted by YouTube user Sedan 57 Chevy. Yeah, I'm not supposed to say his real name, so I'm sorry. And the Brigadier is, he says, a 70s land yacht, so basically you could say a flagship saloon that's managed to stick around till 1989. So I'm interested to see how this car will be, and I am not entirely sure how to judge this car for what it is in 1989 or for what it would be in the 70s. So let's actually see what it is. It's a leather chassis, very popular still in the 70s. Corrosion resistant steel with front longitudinal, McPherson struts, leaf springs in the rear end. That's definitely a little bit dated for the late 80s. And corrosion resistant steel. Looks like we also got a V8 in there. Who would have thought? As far as the looks go, I think this plays its part perfectly. This really looks like a 70s flagship saloon, and you kind of wonder, wait a minute, is it really 1989 already? This car looks good, it looks elegant, especially for a car that debuted in the 70s. It looks good, but it doesn't really look like late 80s. It doesn't really look like, you know, almost 90s. So it does look outdated for what year it's in, but it looks absolutely adequate for a 70s flagship saloon, which is what it technically is. So yeah, we got rear-wheel drive, and let's see, we saw it was a V8. It is 318 cubic inches, that is 5.2 liters. It's cast iron with direct acting OHC again. Popular for the 70s, not so popular in the late 80s anymore. You got forged steel crank, I-beam steel conrods, forged pistons, and yeah, that's quite expensive. Wow, that is a very interesting power and torque curve. Like, for a 5.2 liter engine, these numbers are very low. Like, yeah, and that's mainly down to this right here. That's what I suspected. 19 cam profile. You don't see that very often, other than in, you know, mid 70s American V8, which is basically where this car comes from. So a 7.9 compression ratio is also very low. It is NA, we saw that. Single point EFI is not so much 70s anymore. That is definitely an 80s thing. Regular unleaded fuel, again, more like an 80s thing than a 70s one. 5000 RPM limit. And dual exhausts. Looks like we got a little bit too small of an exhaust diameter, but that again just emphasizes the, you know, quote-unquote down-tuned setup of this engine. Extremely early torque and low and low top end. That's what I'm getting at. So yeah, this car really fills that role, and so does the engine. let's go here for a second. It's an automatic gearbox with 4 speeds. That's pretty much up to date in the late 80s. So it does have some, you know, for its day and age modern component, such as the single point EFI we saw. 165mm tires are not up to its date though. Like 165s, those are not much wider than your average donut, but yeah, that's what you also see right here. 45.4% wheel spin. Hard long life road tires, so those do not help with the issue of wheel spin either, or with the braking performance or the 0 to 100 km/h performance. Yeah, solid discs. That's pretty much on par with its time. Looks like we actually have way too much brakes. Oh, we could definitely set the pad type to a little bit more comfortable. Which, I mean, comfort is good at 50.2, but it could be still a little bit better if, let's see. So it is now at 50. I'm gonna drop it down a little bit to 20. We're at 50.7. That didn't do all that much. 51. So we would gain 1, or actually 0.8 comfort from this. And 0.5 drivability, I guess. So it's fine. You got no under tray, no wing angles, or actually, you know, he didn't change them because there's no lips or wings on this car anyway, so no need to change that. A lot of brake airflow, way more cooling airflow than we need. I'm interested to know why you put the maximum brake airflow in this car. Most 90s cars didn't even have brake airflow. But yeah, okay, maybe that's a priority to minimize the brake fade. We got 5 seats with luxury interior, luxury cassette entertainment, power steering and ABS. This car doesn't need traction control, and only standard safety though, which is interesting because this does have a very expensive interior. Why not go for the advanced safety options? You get hydro-pneumatic springs for a lot of comfort. You get twin tube dampers, passive sway bars, and what appears to be a very comfy suspension setup. And the reliability is good for what is basically a 70s car. 25 drivability, again mainly due to that wheel spin because of the narrow tires. And yeah, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is 11.9 seconds. It's not fantastic at all. The roll angle is only 1.8 degrees. 1.8 degrees. That's more than, you know, many supercars I've built in this game. So actually less. Excuse me, that's less than most supercars I've built, and I'm interested to know why, how that's even possible, because this car weighs 1.9 tons, and it's made from steel, which is not the stiffest of materials, if you ask me. So what? And it's on 165mm tires. So how in the world does this car not roll more than that? Can anybody explain that to me? But anyway, overall, top speed 193.8 kilometers an hour. Like these two numbers, the top speed and the capacity and engine type, that doesn't go together in my mind. I've never seen a 5.2 liter V8 car that can't reach 200 kilometers an hour. That's a novel for me. I've never seen that. But anyway, this car, I can actually imagine it being a pretty difficult job to design a 1989 car that basically hasn't moved on since the 70s, like that's been around since the 70s and never had any significant changes. I've always been one to try and make a car futuristic for its time rather than, you know, outdated for its time. It's also you got some of those chrome bars between the headlights. I like it, and therefore I can definitely see the challenge here, and I think he did a pretty good job at that. Yeah, this is definitely. He mentioned the Cadillac Brougham. Yeah, that is exactly the kind of car that people liked in the 70s, but they would like to see, you know, a replacement for it, something new, something that that captures the spirit of the old car, but meets it with newer technology, with newer looks, maybe with maybe some wider tires, with maybe a better tuned engine, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I can see it. This car is really what he said it would be, and I like that. So well done, creating a car that is, you know, derived from the 70s but still there in 1989 and feels kind of outdated but still has a certain 70s charm to it. Yeah, I like it. So let's go ahead and look at the next car he sent me. That is going to be the not the Kaysen, the Colonial. Please scroll down again. The Colonial. He says this is a luxury sports coupe. Again, we're in 1989. So let's see what this is actually made of. It is corrosion resistant steel for the chassis and panels. Transverse. Looks like we are gonna have a front wheel drive car here. The wishbone front and rear. So it's actually quite tight underneath that engine bay, or inside that engine bay I should say, because the double wishbones are not the most compact of suspension setups. Plus he has a V8 in there, as we can see. So I'm interested to see how that works out. And the wishbone rear, if I haven't mentioned that. The looks, something about them reminds me of maybe a little bit of Maserati in there, with the. Actually, it also reminds me of Toyotas in as far as the headlights go here, but maybe also. Maybe it would be a Lexus rather, because of the chrome here and whatnot. Yeah, some more chrome back here and some sleek taillights, and definitely sleek taillights for 1989, I would say. And this kind of looks like a rival to a Maserati or a Bentley. Did Bentley build coupes back then? I'm assuming they did. Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah, so this looks elegant, yeah, but also kind of what should I say here? Kind of weird with the bottom of the front and with this lip standing out like that. That's a little bit. What's the word? A little bit too. No, not aggressive. I like when a car looks aggressive, but a little bit cheeky, a little bit naughty. I don't know. But still, it's fine. It's maybe not my personal taste, but I can see it will probably still be to some people's taste. And it looks like this car doesn't have exhaust. Maybe it's an electrical engine. But of course, electrical engines aren't even planned for now as far as development goes. So I have to disappoint you at that. We did see that it was a V8. It's got 292 cubic inches, which is roughly 4.8 liters. Dual overhead cam with 2 valves per cylinder, so that is definitely more modern than we saw on the Brigadier. Keep in mind though that this is not intended to be a car that has its origin in 1970 but is still built in 1989. This is a new car for 1989, and as such it's also made from aluminium. Again, billet steel crank. That's very expensive, so I am assuming that he's aiming for a higher price class with this car. Forged H-beam conrods, forged pistons, 9.6 compression and 39 cam profile. Yeah, that is kind of a mid-range tune right there. It is NA, we saw that. It's again single point EFI with a single configuration, but performance intake. Performance intake, huh? So that's saying something about the character of this car. We're running on premium fuel rather than regular, and the fuel mixture is still pretty lean, and the ignition timing is at 50 right here. RPM limit of 5700 is a little bit low, but we're still having reliability issues because with conrods and the pistons doesn't get much better as far as pistons go for the RPM limit, because he's already running the forged ones. He could go for I-beam steel conrods. Yeah, that would get rid of those issues and wouldn't really add much cost. $2. No, actually it would take away 2 cost and it would add a lot of reliability, but he chose to do it this way, so I'm keeping it this way. We haven't looked at the exhaust yet. They are dual long tubular exhausts, 1.75 inch diameter, a freeway cat, straight through first muffler, reverse flow second muffler, keeping this thing nice and quiet. Actually not that quiet, all things considered. 41.9 is not obnoxiously loud, but it's not quiet as a baby, you know, as a sleeping baby you should say, because normally when babies are, when they are awake, they're not that quiet, all things considered. But before we go to the final stats, let's look at this. It's another 4-speed automatic, like the Brigadier, we just had. Again, the spacing is 50. He could have optimized that, I think. Open differential, medium compound road tires, 195s front and rear. But keep in mind that this is front-wheel drive, so we do have a lot of weight over the front axle naturally. 85 sportiness, 1.01 drivability on the handling. So this is a very tame car. And we got 16-inch rims. That's fine. Alloy wheels. Definitely not something that's out of the question for 1989. It is a little bit of a higher standard though, and so this is probably what this car is aimed at. Solid discs, so with 2 pistons front and 2 pistons rear, same size for both of them as well. There's a lot of optimization still left in this. You could go for, yeah, lowering the pad type a little bit. That would give us some more comfort. But this is fully clad, so better top speed and better fuel economy for that. Again, way more cooling airflow than we need, and maximum brake airflow. I don't know. I don't really understand why. but better than not having it. So 5 seats, luxury interior and entertainment, all driver aids that are available in 1989 at least. There's no stability control, no launch control yet, and standard safety again. I'm interested to know why you don't go for advanced, since this is actually a higher class vehicle. It's not a bargain luxury car lookalike thing like what's that name of that Kia they produced a couple of years ago, or the Lancia Kappa or anything like that. It's not in that category. Looks like we got another comfort setup right here as far as suspensions go. For a luxury car, this is actually quite light, 1436 kilograms. Drivability is 53.1, sportiness 21.4. I get that this is a luxurious car with comfort being at 45, but I don't really understand why he said it would be a luxury sports coupe. Because I don't really see anything that's all that sporty about it, other than the sheer amount of horsepower. I mean, okay, yeah, 260 horsepower has the potential to be sporty, but with front-wheel drive, a 4-speed automatic gearbox, and 195mm tires, I don't think that makes it all that sporty, and especially with the comfort preset on the suspension. I really don't think this is all that sporty, and the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time of 7.9 seconds emphasizes that. That is probably around the same level as the E30 M3 as far as 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time goes, and that's not bad. But at the same time, this car has a very high front weight distribution, and let's keep in mind that these cornering G numbers are not accurate. They are too high in the game, and yeah, this car rolls significantly more than a Brigadier. The airflow track is completed in 137.5. So that is not very fast either. So I don't know where he's coming from on the sports side of things on this car. I would prefer it to be rear-wheel drive in order to make it more sporty, because that would make for a better weight distribution. It would make for a very different handling behavior. It would make it so you would have to add a little bit wider rear tires, as a result getting you more grip and better 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time and whatnot. So overall, I think this is a nice luxury coupe, which is not going to be that expensive. 11,700 total cost. That's not, like, for a luxury car, that's actually quite cheap. So it would definitely be less expensive than a Bentley. It will probably also be less expensive than a Maserati, but then again, it's not as potent either. As much as I hate to say it, but it still has its place as maybe a rival to, you know, the BMW 5 Series of that time. But this is a 2-door version and a front-wheel drive version. So that you could say this is for the people who don't like rear-wheel drive but still want a luxury coupe. I see that point, and however, it is not really all that sporty, which his creator said it would be. He said it was a luxury sports coupe, and it's not quite a luxury sports coupe. It is a luxury coupe though, and it's quite good at that, but it's still a little bit weird to me why he chose the front-wheel drive setup. Maybe it gave him a little bit better drivability. That might be one reason. But overall, this is still kind of a bewildering combination to me for a front-wheel drive luxury coupe. Like it doesn't roll off the tongue very well, and it doesn't really tickle my fancy, if you will. But as I said, I can see the point in this car. It is definitely less expensive than Maseratis and Bentleys, and it's front-wheel drive for all the people that dislike rear-wheel drive for whatever reason, and it does its job, but it doesn't blow the doors off at that. So I think that's gonna sum it up for this episode, because it's been long enough. I am going to do another review next time, or as soon as I get more entries, in case I don't get more than the one I already got. But I think that one is gonna take a little bit more time anyway. And oh, I forgot to send me your cars for reviewing. If you want your car to be reviewed, you need to send me the car model file, which is seen in this tab, the car trim file is seen here, the engine family file, and the engine variant file. All four of these is what I need so that the car will actually load, and preferably take all these files, zip them up in a folder, and send them to me on facebook.com/thetomgamingchannel, or via email at thetomgamingchannel@gmail.com. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please click the like button, it helps out a great deal. Also consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.